Yeah, the timing is unfortunate, but he'll be in here soon enough.
Sorry, Cease. We'll see you in a tad.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see.
How's my audio? Okay, you can hear me, right?
I think it's great right now. Yeah.
Okay,
It's
cool.
great. Now's the time to blitz out all the drinks that are currently sponsoring the Nico morning show, the Nico afternoon show, evening show now. So that's a busted drink. So guys, if you are here, if you're stopping in, we are waiting on Seuss. We're gonna go ahead and drive ahead with a lot of things, but we're gonna be talking about the V1 elections for Near. Near is making history in the way that they are proposing and submitting governance. I say we, the community will poll governance for 3 different positions. There will be Council of Advisors, which are going to advise Near. There's going to be the House of Merit, which is going to be capital allocation focused, and there's going to be the Transparency Commission to make sure everything is proceeding as it should and kind of being a watchdog. We're going to be talking a lot with Brando tonight about that. You might know Brando's voice or his beautiful face from Near at Night. Yeah, this is Brandon from Trove Labs here. Yeah, from Near at Night, you probably know him. And we'll be cutting it up and talking about all that stuff. So please hit us with all the questions. We'll get the chat open and we'll get to your questions when we can. That's for sure. And
hello, Brandon, the big boss. Thank you. Javizu, thank you. You're the man. It's my first time on the Nico morning show. I mean, I've worked a lot with Noah and creating some of the proposals for it, but it's actually good to be here. Normally, it's like way too early for me. But now this is great. I mean, I love the setup. I love you guys. Kind of sucks. Seuss had some technical difficulties, so we'll see him later. But
he'll be here
soon. This is awesome. It's great to be here.
Yeah, awesome, man. Glad to have you. One of the things that I know Seuss really wanted to do is get an in-depth introduction from you. So, crypto space, generally stuff like what you're doing. If you want to dive into Trove Labs, basically just what you do and essentially why. We'll lead into why you'll be a good fit. So,
well, we can take it slow since Seuss ain't here. So, I'll give a little introduction about myself. Brandon. So I guess my professional experience, I worked as a laboratory manager. I was basically there in a startup laboratory. I got to work on a whole bunch of stuff from, management, leading teams, creating SOPs, a whole bunch of business scaling, operations, things like that. I learned a lot there, gained a lot of experience. And I've been in crypto for some time. I've been in the Near ecosystem for 2 years. Before that, in college, I was interested in crypto. Many of you may know David, DeFi dealer. He really showed me a lot about crypto, investing in crypto, and then a lot of the different awesome things you could do with DeFi. And, we really got interested into it. I mean, 2 years ago when the bull run was going on, we started dabbling, dipping our toes into crypto, buying different NFTs, things like that. And then eventually, me and him have always been really inclined towards computers, not like a computer scientist or anything, but I've always, built my own PCs. I like technology. So we kind of started messing around, like creating our own NFTs, different artworks, things like that. And then when we saw Near and the tech stack that it provided, we really thought that we could be first movers on a blockchain that has such great technology. And, we believe in it. And that's kind of what led us to build on Near. And we've been in the ecosystem for 2 years. We've met lots of great people, including Noah, Seuss, a bunch of others on the Near ecosystem. And I guess, I co-founded Trove Labs with David, and that's our development company. But we have also created many different projects on Near Protocol and advised many. But I guess the most notable ones was that we co-founded Good Fortune Felines Nico, and then we co-founded Jump DeFi together. So, there's that. I've also been, I've been in it for a while, and we also do Near at Night. I host Near at Night with David, and we do that 4 days a week, and we kind of just go through the Near ecosystem. We talk to different projects, take deep dives into what they're doing, updates, stuff like that. So it's really great to see, what everyone's building on there. And I just say that it's, I've got to create a lot of great, strong relationships that way. That was a lot.
No, that was great. That was fantastic. I mean, your experience in crypto and specifically Near is a lot. I mean, you're a Near veteran, and yeah, that's good stuff. Yeah, obviously, lots of impact through Jump DeFi, lots of impact through Good Fortune NFT. They've played big roles in the Near ecosystem, and all that stuff. If you guys are just jumping in TikTok or different platforms, we are cruising into the pulse of Near. Essentially, we're going to be talking about V1 elections. So, yeah, lots of experience there. Brandon's one of the people that hired me, so I get to work with him now. It's pretty cool. Working in Web3 is awesome. But yeah, we'll start getting into it. I think we'll start getting into it. Brandon, what made you want to run for a position on like Near governance, and what can you bring to the table using all your background as lab manager, as project manager, all these different things?
Yeah. Well, I think we can kind of go slow on that question, seeing as how Seuss isn't here just yet. But I mean, for those of you, everyone here probably knows what the NDC is, but Noah introduced it. But it is kind of like it's a really interesting idea, bringing important decisions on treasury spending and initiatives to grow the ecosystem to the community through a decentralized manner. And I mean, there's lots of I wouldn't say issues, but there's lots of things that go into something like a decentralized form of governance. There's pros and cons, and I think the biggest advantage is that the representation that everyone gets is a lot more fair than you actually get representation as opposed to a centralized entity. But this takes time, and it's been a journey for the development of the NDC. I was there a long time ago, about a year ago at NearCon, when Blaze and everyone and Ilya was just kind of like proposing this idea. And I was there when they were like hurrying to get it like created, get a structure set up. I remember we were supposed to have a NDC meeting at NearCon, and like kind of, I think the whole structure was supposed to be established, like the charter and everything, right after NearCon. And that did not happen. It has been a journey. It's been a lot longer than that. But I was actually there with Blaze, and he was the one basically spearheading the whole initiative, and it's finally come to V1. It's been that long. I think the time and I think the effort and time that's went into the NDC has really made it something. I know there's still, it's still a young system, and we will get to see, I guess, what happens with V1. But it's really exciting to finally be there near the finish line, to finally be self-nominating myself, seeing the other talented individuals who are candidates, and then, eventually voting on them.
Yeah.
I would say, I guess, let's see, kind of got a little bit sidetracked, but the reason I wanted to run is because I would say that there's a lot of things that Near has made. I mean, everyone can ally with the tech stack, like how amazing it is to use Near protocol. But I think there was some initial difficulties with some of the way that projects got funded in the past. I think that the Near Foundation, they started with these like fast grants, which not all of them necessarily went to builders stayed around. I mean, we've all been through a lot. I mean, you've seen what's been happening in the last year, and so much volatility in the crypto world, and that's just kind of the way it is. But the people that are here now, like Noah, Seuss, those guys, they really are, and a lot of others on the ecosystem, they really are trying to build something. And that's kind of like what me and my co-founder, DeFi Dealer, always tried to do. We wanted to build something meaningful that lasted, something that brought true value. That's why we put so much care into what we're building, and we want to remain transparent. Really, we're not just here looking for the next grift like a lot of people have been. And going back to the initial way the grant funding was from the Near Foundation, it kind of it kind of was like that. Your projects that got grant funding aren't even here anymore, and they didn't really
Mhm.
survive the trials and tribulations that everyone else did. And I think that with
Yeah.
the NDC, I mean, this is what most of the people were asking for during that time. This is something that Blaze says a lot. Um, we were asking for more representation on things that got funded. I mean, now we're finally have the ability to do that. The
Mm.
people actually get to look at the different initiatives, fund the different guilds that are, providing their own funding to various different projects, and actually have an influence on grassroots funding. And I
Right.
want to bring, some of that, I want to correct some of the issues I saw with, funding back in the day, back about a year ago, and I
Mhm.
want to allow projects that are willing to stand the test of time and willing to be dedicated to what they're building. I want to give them a chance to build on Near and build out the ecosystem.
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
don't
Yeah.
remember the rest of that question.
No, it's great. Yeah. Yeah. Why you want to work in their past experience, all that stuff. Why specifically, um, the specific spot you're running for, all that stuff. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Do you have any predictions for the election as far as influxes of this or that, and how, as let's say you weren't running, how would you go about actually picking people? Like, what would be some of your criteria, or what would some of your criteria be when you're looking for,
Okay.
let's say specifically House of Merit. This is not necessarily what you're running for. Let's
Yeah.
say House of Merit. So House of Merit, it says expertise required is budgetary expertise for ecosystem-wide budget planning, treasury management, and review. And all these
Yeah.
positions, estimate up to 20 hours a week. I mean, uh, that could be pretty significant. I mean, it doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a lot. So
So let's answer that question next, and maybe just go through a brief little rundown
yeah,
of the
absolutely.
different NDC houses while we're here and
Yeah,
still waiting for Seuss,
yeah.
and just for people who don't have context.
And
But
and you know what's even
yeah, go
zestier?
ahead.
Uh, for some reason our data is still sending to Twitter because he was running that one. So now it is streaming on Twitter. That's awesome. But it wasn't about 2 minutes ago. So
Oh, damn.
yeah.
Well,
So that
hello,
part that part sucks.
Twitter.
But Twitter's just now getting
Hello,
on. So
X.
honestly, we could basically start over. So if you're in the other platforms,
Yeah,
grab yourself a coffee. It's a good time for it. So
yeah.
yeah.
Well, really briefly, I'll go over the NDC. I mean, there's three houses. There's the House of Merit, there's the Council of Advisors, and the
Mhm.
Transparency Commission, and it's kind of modeled off of different other forms of government. Judicial, executive. The different branches have different checks and balances on each other. The
Mhm.
House of Merit, as Noah said, is in charge of allocating budget for different proposals.
Mhm.
And I learned this recently from IlluminFT, also proposing their own proposals.
Oh,
Not
well.
just passing or passing other people's proposals, but writing their own as well. But passing initiatives and proposals that basically, use the treasury to get things done.
Mhm.
Like you said, you have to have people who are budget minded and know what things that the ecosystem needs. And it says on here, like you said, what would I like to see in someone running for House of Merit? I think that a
Right.
lot of this is very important, like budgetary planning, management of funds, things like that. But I do think that something that I'll get into later, something that is really important, and is one of the reasons why I'm running, is because I think that there's a unique perspective from builders and founders in the
Mhm.
ecosystem. Not saying that we know everything, but I definitely have a good idea
Right.
of what it takes to found a crypto project, a Web3 project on the Near ecosystem. And I think that that's a really important. Oh, so I was reading the chat. That's a really important thing to have. A perspective
Yeah.
on actually building something. And I know that there's a lot of people who are like a lot smarter than me running, but I think that it's very important that we have a perspective, from people inside the ecosystem. What do you think on that one? We'll slow it down.
Yeah, absolutely. I think just like any good, officer in the military, you got to be able to get down in the trenches and kind of meet your people. And I think the best way to do that is just to pull officers from the people. And so, making sure multiple communities are represented, and none of the, I guess, positions or like houses are stacked too like unilaterally, all that stuff. I think it's super, super important. And so I think that you can kind of actually really can keep a great track record of what each team has accomplished. And so as far as, hey, is this person going to be lackadaisical, sit on their butt and do nothing, contribute nothing to the NDC, or are they going to show up in a big way? Well, an easy way to kind of figure that out is going to be track their accomplishments so far, track their consistency so far. Have they not done anything since April of 2021, but they have a .NEAR near by their name? Or are they constantly doing stuff, constantly building stuff, and making services and products that are bringing people into, to NEAR, bringing people to that ecosystem? And so I think that's super, super important, and you can really tell who has an actual like pulse on what's going on. So
yeah. I think that's a really good point. You want people who are going to actually put effort into the position and not just, slack off when they have a seat on a very important council on the House of Merit. Or I think that is a very good analysis of it. Another thing I saw, I heard actually in a really spicy podcast with AVB and Joe and Jared. They're all great guys. Love those guys. They've done a lot for the ecosystem. But one thing they mentioned, I'm not sure if I'm saying it exactly, but you're going to get, you don't want a council or an NDC stacked with people who, have no experience or perspective of what it takes to build on an ecosystem, right? The NDC is supposed to be, I'm not saying that they don't have something to add, but I do that. It's really important that the builders have representation that you are trying to attract. You're trying to attract users, you're trying to attract developers to create, and innovate on your blockchain. So it's really important that they be represented. And I think that's something that I'm trying to bring to the table when I'm running. And I know David as well, and a lot of others I've seen, as candidates. But I think that is really important.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. Sound. Can we get a sound test from Seuss? Seuss, I see that your phone is in here. I know we can't see your face, and that's okay. We know that you had some technical difficulties. How is your sound?
Yeah, hello guys. Can you hear me?
Actually, it's fantastic. Yes, we can.
Sorry guys about this, and sorry about the noise. I'm actually literally sitting outside because my internet decided to rug me. But glad to have Brando here with us. I have been trying to get Brando to the Nico Morning Show for so long, so I'm really glad that it happens. Unfortunately, I can't turn on my camera. Actually, I'm just literally outside. Hello, guys. but unfortunately, I won't be trying to contribute. I will try to contribute as much as possible. I won't be able to, do my thing. So, good morning, everyone. And I just joined a little bit late, so I want to talk. If we already talked about what is the NDC and how people can participate and start voting, why it's important for people to cast their vote on the NDC.
Yes, we have not talked about why it's important. We haven't talked about how they can. We have just talked about what the NDC is. So
and we I will. Do you want to cover the Council of Advisors, or do you want me to do that one?
Nah, you got this, man. Guys, this is your candidate. This guy knows a lot about a lot of stuff. Listen to Brandon.
I know a little bit. I just I've had the pleasure of speaking with Blaze and Russ and IlluminFT on a couple Near at Nights, and they really, they're the ones in the GWG who were creating the framework for all the governance, and I was able to learn a lot from them. But the Council of Advisors, the House of Merit is in charge of creating and passing certain proposals, but the Council of Advisors is a check on that. They're in charge of vetoing certain proposals and then kind of advising and guiding deployment of of the funds from the Treasury. So, it's important to kind of take a second look at the things that people are trying to fund. I mean, I would say that crypto and Web3 is a changing, ecosystem, changing industry. It's always, there's different trends, and I'd say the most important thing is that we're always like learning from the different things on Web3. We saw in the beginning all of the NFT craze and all of that stuff, and as we kind of grew a little bit more, I mean, I know there's lots of degen still, but I think that there is a lot of potential for all tons of innovations that we haven't even thought up yet with Web3 technology, blockchain technology. Right. And, maybe there's initiatives that aren't quite, beneficial. There's things that maybe we need to focus on. There's maybe there's a lot of candidates who don't necessarily have the right read on the ecosystem and are funding the wrong things. And I think that Council of Advisors, as is in the title, is the house that is trying to basically direct the conversation, direct and advise the other members of the ecosystem into deploying those funds and deploying, initiatives a little bit more logically, pragmatically, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think that was a little
veto power. Council of Advisors has veto power. Can you tell us about that some?
Yeah. So, I mean, as we said, it is a check and balance on the House of Merit. So if there's certain proposals which the Council of Advisors agrees that they don't necessarily, if there's proposals that the Council of Advisors disagree with, they have the power to veto that. And I'm not exactly sure, but I think it goes back to a vote or something like that. It allows for obviously more deliberation on the idea, maybe more discussion about it. But yeah, that's a pretty big power. Because I mean, if the House of Merit was just passing things all the time, and no one really wanted to speak up against them, or maybe it was just stacked with people that are on the same mindset, I do think that the power to either veto and rethink that proposal initiative, or just to get some time for the idea to sit and people to dwell on it, is really important. But
absolutely.
Yeah,
no, absolutely. No, it's really important. And like you said, I don't know if you've seen World War Z. There is a application of this. In World War Z, there's this council that like Israel has, because they have, they're the only ones that actually build a wall like right before the zombie outbreak happens. And the reason why they did it is because they have this Council of Advisors, and there's 10 of them, and it's somebody's job to be the 10th man. And so when everybody else, like something seems like common sense to everybody else, it's like it's that 10th man's job to speak up and say, hey guys, maybe we should take this seriously. And they did. So having that checks and balances is really smart, and having those people that'll be handpicked to actually be able to, go against the flow and be strong about it too, and not get trampled because they, can stick to their guns for the right reasons. I think that's super, super important. So yeah, thanks for elaborating on that.
Yeah. I got something for Seuss, if you're able to talk. Noah asked me, I think, what I wanted to see with someone in the House of Merit. What qualities do I want to see in a House of Merit representative? So Seuss, what type of person would you like to see on the Council of Advisors for the NDC? What type of background, qualities?
Yeah. Well, honestly, what we want is people who generally care about the ecosystem, and they try to make the right decision. And there is a lot of hot takes around the decisions that have been made, but what we want to focus on is in the future, right? And how we can, contribute to the ecosystem as much as possible. So as long as the guy actually generally, people in the House of Merit or Council of Advisor really care about the ecosystem, and they do things to develop the ecosystem, having the right people in there, it's what's gonna help the ecosystem to grow, right? So that's why I really can't stress much how much I always tell to the people that it's very important for anyone who use the NEAR protocol to actually cast their vote. Even you guys don't have the OG badge, which you need the OG badge to actually nominate yourself if you want to run. But even if you don't know much about the NEAR ecosystem, casting a vote for the right person, you already contributed to the ecosystem, right? And that's what we want. So if anyone wants to cast their vote, it's very simple and easy, guys. All what you have to do is just verify your account with I am a human. That's basically proof that you are a human. The account is not bot. And then I think Nono will pull up the QR
Mhm.
code right now and put it in the screen. You can go there and check people who nominated themselves. You can read about them, have a background check on each of the people who's nominating, and cast your vote to the one who you really think is gonna help the ecosystem. And that's why I'm really excited for Brando and Delir to actually join there, because I know these guys work so hard, to build the ecosystem, to
Yeah.
build the near ecosystem. So I genuinely want to support them as much as I can. At the
Mhm.
same time, there is other great people as well in there that you can vote for. I believe like there is 27 votes
Yeah.
you can cast, right, for each person. So you can cast a lot of votes. And
Well,
that's it. That's really it. Just having the right person in the right place is what's gonna help. And regarding the veto power, which is I think very important, uh, Brando talked in a point that if the merit actually have closed-minded state, then the advisors can actually veto it. And I believe there is like 7 position. You need only 5 votes, and it will pass the veto, right? So having this,
well,
different thinking or mindset of people in there will help to make the right decision, and not
correct.
always going towards one thing only. So let's say the House of Merit only focuses on this part of the ecosystem, but the advisor think that we need to focus also on that part, so they can veto their power and fix the decision in there.
Yeah.
Nice.
Good work, Zeus. Yeah, that was solid.
Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate your backing me up as someone you want to vote for. That's awesome. Thank you. I'm gonna ask Noah the same question. What type of person would you like to see in the Council of Advisors? Like, what qualities do you think are
Yeah.
important?
I think Zeus just nailed it, but I think the number one thing to add would be like have an open line of communication. Like, for example, if I'm going into Council of Advisors, as soon as a near person follows me and they're asking me questions, as long as they're not trying to grift or just like, hey, you got any giveaways for me? Like, if there's like real conversation happening, like it's kind of like a professor having 24/7 office hours. Obviously, it's not 24/7, but I think in general your door should be open, especially for the people that make it. Like, it's one thing to have an open door policy when you're campaigning, but to have an open door policy once you make it and still get a read on the community. Similarly, I think it's going to be two-edged sword, because you don't want to clearly have favorites if everybody and their mom can pick out who your favorite projects are, or how you swing this way or that way. Not you, Brandon, but people in general. How you swing this way or that way based off of who it is and less about what the proposal is. I think, especially I think it'll be interesting to see with the Council of Advisors where they harp on, hey, numbers are numbers. This is going to be effective, and when they choose teams over numbers, because instead of choosing a team that's like, a favorite team, but they can say, hey, consistently this team, over delivers and outperforms, even if this looks like that or this looks like that. I think it'll be interesting seeing like where they choose those things and how they choose those things. But I would say communication, be open to communication, communicate early and often, and just have an open door. That would be probably one of my favorite things for somebody like that I put in power. So
Yeah, I think that's a really great one. The having a candidate that is in touch with their, I guess, voting base, but with the community, and being transparent with them. I mean, that's really important.
Yeah.
I'd have to say that one of the qualities that I would really like is for a council advisor, for someone on the council of advisors, is someone who can really, like you said in World War Z, that 10th man, not necessarily be devil's advocate or contrarian all the time, but someone who can speak out against a general movement. A lot of times, in different ecosystems, blockchains, even decentralized governance, you can kind of develop tribalism or different cliques. We talk a lot about cartels. Noah said, I really think that a lot of funding should be based on merit, instead of just, oh, well, this person's really well liked. That's important too. Relationships are really important within the community, but I think things should be really based on merit. And if someone sees an issue where, okay, well, I see that this is getting funded because not necessarily it's a good initiative, but because the people on there are friends of this person, or, they've been here this long, but they're not necessarily providing the best benefit to the near ecosystem with their initiative or whatever. I want to be able to have someone who could speak out. The Council of Advisors is the check on all of this stuff. They should be able to get out there and be like, look, I don't agree with this, and this is why. And they shouldn't be afraid to do that. That's something that I really value as a quality. I've seen, again, going back to Joe, Jared, AVB, they've definitely not afraid to sense a problem, see it out there, and bring it up. And I think that's important. And there's a lot of emphasis on this being V1 of the governance. There's a lot of things that we're going to find out that need to be not necessarily fixed, but there's going to be some bugs. There's going to be some kinks to iron out. And
no doubt.
I want individuals who can identify that and not be afraid to go against it, even if it's the unpopular opinion.
Yeah, no, that's super, super important. That's super, super important. I don't know if Jared or Joe are running, or if AVB is running for anything, but in my mind, I was like, how are these guys not going to sweep everything? It's a good thing there's only 3 of them, because they would get all my votes. So
all 27 of my votes.
How does it, right? How does that work? So you have 27 total that you can split however you want to?
Brandon? To be honest, I don't want to stake my whole reputation on that question, but I do believe that that is. I think that's the case. You can basically vote for whoever you want. I'm not exactly sure. I'm going to ask IlluminFT that next time, but you might be able to put all 27 votes on one person. I'm not sure.
Cool. Thanks for being honest.
I know who I will cast my 27 votes to. That's for sure. But one thing I want to talk about, which is like a bit of a hot take, a little bit. Sorry, I had to mute my mic. I'm sitting outside, guys. But yeah, one of the things that I really want to talk about is the lack of interest from OGs. There is a lot of big names that can contribute to the ecosystem very, very well, and there is a lot of big names can bring so much value in the NDC. The thing is, we saw that some of these OGs did not want to participate in the election or nominate themselves, even though us, for people who's in the community already know how much value they bring in. I'm glad to see Brando and Delir going in, and I was talking with Don about it, that he should nominate himself as well, because we really need these people who care about the ecosystem to be in there. And why do you think there is a lack of interest from the OG? Definitely the 3 guys you talked about, I follow them very closely. They have some hot takes, and they always speak up what's in their mind without the fear of consequences. And you need someone like this as well in the industry, right? You need someone to speak up and be able to stand up for what he thinks is right and wrong. So I really, really hope that a lot of the good OGs name on the ecosystem, still nominate themselves. I believe there is 16 days, I think, and 22 hours or 21 hours until the election, and people can nominate themselves until September 6th, right?
September 9, maybe 6, yeah.
September 9, I think, will be the September 9 will be the September 7. Okay, so September 9 is gonna be the start of the voting until 18, and then until September 6, you still can nominate yourself, right?
Yeah. I'll go over it really quickly. So July 19th to September 7th is the nomination period. Then the 8th till September 22nd is when elections take place. And then after that, the first Congress is on October 1st for 6 months till April 1st. And then you vote and I think you can have 2 terms in each seat or something like that. But I'll have to ask Blaze and
Wow.
Luminati again.
I think that would be interesting to. You said each seat you can like move count. You can move spots,
Yeah.
right?
Yes,
That's interesting. So having the the full infinity gauntlet of somebody that's been in each house there at the end. Like I feel like that's interesting. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's can be a really good thing. Obviously, I hope the OGs that deserve to be there are getting the votes and people are turning out for them. But I mean,
those
by
people
the
can
time,
run for near president.
yeah, I mean,
After you
by
get
the time
all 3
you're
houses.
that's right. If you spend spend 2 different terms in each house, I mean, the amount of experience just from that's crazy. Like that's really, really big. That's really, really big. So, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, Captain Kinguin said, "Can you vote for more than one person?" And yeah, you should get 1 vote for every open seat. So that's like, what is it, like 27? I don't remember what we
27.
counted, but you get a lot of votes.
5, 7, 15. So yeah, 12 and 15. So yeah, 27. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's important
Congrats.
also because even though you have a lot of votes, it's important to do your background check before you cast your vote to anyone, right? Because it's very important we elect the right people for the right position. You don't want, for example, if someone, let's say, had an old account and he managed to get the OG, badge on him, and then he just nominated himself, but what value you bring to the ecosystem? What did you contribute so far? And there is none actually. So it's very important to actually choose the right people for each right position. Even though you have a lot of votes to cast, okay, casting a few votes on the right people are way more important just going there and randomly check.
Yeah. Yeah, especially if you can throw all 27 at one, like that's something else. That is something else.
I don't think they can throw 27 at one person. I think I voted in a poll a few days ago, and there was kind of like terms that you have to pass certain type of votes to be able elected, right? So they were like trying to check how many votes for each candidate need to be able to be elected. So there will be a minimum vote, and if they are going for this, then I don't think you can cast 27 votes on one person. That's for sure, because they will just with one wallet will pass him as a candidate. So yeah, I think you will be able to, because the House of Merit, there is like 15 position, and the advisors is 7, right? And then we have the last one, Transparency Commission is, I think, 4, if I'm not mistaken.
So
5,
actually,
7, 15.
again, we might be incorrect, but I'm pretty sure it's 29 votes, because that would make a lot more sense with the math. 7, 7, and 15. And Javazoo said, does this vote have a cost? And I'm pretty sure they're voting on this, or it might have been polled already, but I'm pretty sure there's like a 5-year bond or something like that. Like you have to have 5 year in order to vote, so that someone just can't make a bunch of I Am Human wallets without spending a lot of near on it. They can't just bot out the elections. I believe that's the case, but we will find out more on.
What would you do for 5 near? Sorry. Sorry, I had to. Hey, on the OGs, this is, I don't think you should know the answer to this, but if you know the answer, great. Brandon, do you have to have an OG for V2 elections, or is that just to start the council, just a V1, or is that not decided yet, or do you not?
I'm pretty sure that is just to start. I'm pretty sure that an I Am Human. I mean, there might be some policy changes in the meantime, but I think I've seen Blaze say that you only need this for V1. They want to start with near OGs, and then I think it moves on beyond that. So yeah, I think that's just for this election.
Gotcha. Super cool. Super cool. Seuss, do you have a specific spot you want to take us next? If not, that's okay. Problem trying to solve. Goals. Hey,
we could go to the
I got
Transparency Commission. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Let's go to Transparency Commission. Let's go ahead and hit all the houses. Yeah. Smart.
Well, be honest, I'm not exactly as familiar with that one. I'm going to be learning a lot more on Thursday near at night. We're going to be talking with the Lumen FT about it, and actually really informative on all of that stuff. But let's see.
Only
so they're
4
in
people
charge
for the Transparency Commission. Wow.
I don't think that. I mean, on the Medium article that I'm looking at from the NBC, it does say 7 for the Transparency Commission.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah,
maybe
I feel
they
like 4 is
changed
not enough for that.
Maybe they changed it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's talk also. Okay, let's talk now about what the Transparency Commission job is. You know, what is what their contribution will be in there. And I think I read a bit of tweet about it, and actually I think it's one of the hardest one among them all in terms of making decision, because you will be checking on everyone. You will be checking on the people who got elected. You will be checking on the people if they are doing their job or no. If there is any complaint, this commission will be able to actually remove you from your role, right? And they will be able to as well, double check that everything is working perfectly and there is no. What's up?
So they're the narcs.
I wouldn't say the narcs exactly, but I guess every type of governance, every government system kind of needs,
a judicial
checks and
branch.
balance. Yeah, I guess so. But this check is directed more towards the individuals, because I'm hoping that we'll get a lot of true OGs that really want to benefit the system. But the truth is, a lot of people are in crypto to try and make a quick buck, try and get what they can out of it through various incentives or whatever it is. But this house is designed to prevent some of that, prevent cartels or bad actors. I mean, there's actually been a lot of times. I mean, everyone's seen a rug pull before. There's a lot of bad actors in the ecosystem, and we do need a defense against that. And I think it's their position to investigate the different individuals that are sitting on the different house seats, and to make sure that they don't see cartels forming, or people, as Noah said earlier, maybe they're not doing their job. Maybe they got elected and they're not attending any of the meetings or doing what they're supposed to be doing. I think we need some sort of system to have those people removed so things can keep moving, or else we're not going to be able to get governance going. So I think
absolutely.
I think that's a hard job. That's something that, it looks really very important, but it seems interesting.
I think at face value, it seems easy. I think it's going to be deceptively hard. Like, I think, just straight up, it's like, oh, transparency. Oh. But I think, when you read into the lines and you actually see what it is, I think it'll be quite difficult. Yeah, especially especially to be known as that person. Be like, oh no, here comes so and so. Coming to check up. They want to DM me. I hope I'm not in trouble, sort of thing. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's like that TikTok fad right now. The one where David asked me this the other day on Near Night. Can you land a plane? As a guy, can you land a plane? And I think that's something that the Transparency Commission has to do. It might seem easy, but I feel like if governance, all of a sudden there's issues in it, they're the ones who have to take control and make sure that they do the right thing to either get these people out so that the plane can keep going. They have to basically make sure everything continues. They have to land the plane. So that's something I don't know. I'd want. What kind of person would you want to see? What kind of qualities would you like to see in a individual running for the Transparency Commission?
I would want to see 0 cases, or basically 0. If not 0 cases, there'd have to be a dang good explanation for why. But 0 cases of any kind of hooligans in the past. Anything on the dishonest scale, anything on the, I don't know, how can you get away with doing that? There should be no eyebrows raised when said individual is elected. There should be in a sense of, hey, they built this and this did that, or they intentionally grabbed this or grabbed that. I think there's got to be a lot of like basic background research whenever somebody's going up for that. But other than that, I would say probably, I don't know if you can tell that intrinsically, but somebody that's a good blockchain sleuth, I feel like you got to have at least one of those, that can sleuth around and find things that other people can't. And I know there's some good blockchain sleuths in the Near community, so I feel like that's a big thing. But yeah, otherwise, just a person that the community deeply knows, just wants to do right and just wants to do well by the community or right by the community, not well by the community. And I feel like you can't truly see that unless it's somebody who's been around for some time, because anybody can throw on that facade for a short amount of time. So I feel like they have to stand the test of time a little bit.
Yeah. So a clean background, that's imperative. Someone who's been around a long time. I think also, maybe we should just get AVB to run for Transparency Commission. He would be unafraid to call out anyone who's not doing their job.
Make a YouTube video.
Yeah, and get them to either get out or keep doing their job. But yeah, I think he would be a perfect candidate. Someone who basically, again, isn't afraid to go against common patterns or these cliques or different things that are forming. But
yeah. Definitely, you need someone with a strong personal. He's not afraid to speak up. He can stand for what is right. And I think based on the job description, sorry, it got a bit noisy at my background now.
No worries. Job description, all that stuff. Lots of things that make sense for those individuals. Brandon, do you know how many votes you're sitting on right now?
Well, they're not votes right now. They are likes, I think. Those are 8 likes.
Right. That's totally what I meant. Likes. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Guys, I knew that. Well, that's awesome. Well, then, very cool. Very cool. That was a bad filler there.
Sorry to cut off. But yeah, based on the job description as well, you need to have, a good guy who can do a lot of research on it as well and figure out what's wrong with someone who can separate his emotion to get the job done.
Yeah.
Is there a dog in the background?
Man, there is a lot of things happening in my background. I'm literally in the middle of the street. There is someone fixing his house beside me. There is a dog in the background, so I'm really sorry, but my internet actually rugged me today, so I'm just sitting on my 3G trying to, keep the show going and help you guys.
Thanks, sir, for doing that. We appreciate it. So, let's see. Brandon, I'm trying to think of some of the questions we had before we went back to actually discussing the specific houses.
And here's one from Javi Zoo, while we're waiting. It says, what are your expectations with this market situation regarding NEAR? Is it time to buy and hold? I mean, it's always really hard to tell the overall market situation of crypto, Web3 in general. But, I'm definitely still confident about NEAR. And things have been pretty well. I mean, we saw a recent dip because of...
Evergreen?
Evergreen? Yeah, there was a couple things.
Yeah.
I think it was another reason. Oh, we lost Zeus. But anyway,
probably.
I think it's definitely time to buy crypto in general for me. I mean, this is not financial advice. I'm terrible at calling trends in different things, but it has been a really long time. I know that the different big institutions, BlackRock and all of the other ETF funds, are trying to get Bitcoin ETF established, stuff like that. I feel like that's a matter of when, not if. If that gets denied right now, it's going to definitely hamper the markets a little bit. But kind of confident in that going. I think that right now, with the NDC coming about and the recent announce of the grassroots funding from the NEAR Foundation, they're putting more funds into the community treasury for different builders, projects, developers. I think it is a really good time for NEAR protocol. I think that I don't know if we touched on the FAST grant issues, with grants in the beginning from the NEAR Foundation for different projects that didn't stick around, but I have a feeling that with the new structures in place with the NDC and And again, giving funding to projects that are actually building, I think Near Protocol is probably going to have a stronger ecosystem and gain that momentum as the crypto markets recover. But
Absolutely.
yeah, I guess we'll see. I'm not an expert, so that's my best read, Javi Zoo.
Yeah. I'm also not an expert. Generally, if everybody's not talking about it anymore, that's pretty good. When the grifters are gone, that's a pretty good time, generally speaking. It's nice to do it before you see kind of the bull market doors open and Bitcoin start making a really big move. In theory, you have more time for alts, all that stuff. But that's all theoretical stuff. I mean, the whole thing is theoretical and speculative. So we can tell you kind of what we think, but it's different, and it's kind of different. It's the same, but it's different every time. So, grassroots fundings. We were just talking about that. I think, and Brandon was just saying, I mean, it's going to be a big deal when Near uses that in a efficient way, especially with the stewardship of the council, making sure we get that to the right communities, and inject that capital, and it'll turn the whole ecosystem into a high octane vehicle, especially when that allocation of capital is going to projects that are building like serious tech or serious products with great UIs and UXs, just for onboarding people. I mean, Near is already known as the blockchain that just kind of brings people on seamlessly. If you guys are in any other stomping grounds as far as crypto goes, you probably know about Base, which is Coinbase's proprietary blend, layer 2 scaling solution for ETH, and how with like one product they've already like brought so many people onto to Base. Like, I know it's way bigger than ADA, way bigger than Cardano, if you're a Cardano person at all, which is not saying a whole lot. But with the right product and the right product market fit, you can have so many people come into the market. And so Near's already done a great job with account abstraction and great techs like ShardDog, making things really, really easy for people to just jump in without knowing they're jumping in necessarily. And yeah, like you're saying, grassroots funding will be really big once there's some really smart people in some high up governance positions that are in touch with the community. And that's kind of the whole purpose of this, V1 council, to set everything on the right track and to give, Near the future it kind of deserves, like from a tech perspective, what it deserves, if things are just stewarded well. So,
touching on that subject, you mentioned ShardDog and the things that they're doing for accessibility to the ecosystem. I think that that's part of the issue that Joe recently voiced out about. It was that builders that are doing something, actively contributing, creating a common good, that takes a lot of work. It's days of their time, effort. They're doing all of this, and they're not really getting paid, other than obviously you're creating your own business, you're creating your own project, but they need support. These different grassroots, if you want users to come to Near, you need to offer a thriving ecosystem. And the thriving ecosystem, while there's a lot of big institutions out there, big projects that get Near Foundation support, like Sweatcoin or Ref Finance or different things like that, that's not always the solution. I mean, it's great that those guys are there, but the true community, the true ecosystem, is from the different projects and the different builders that have been a part of that community. And you can fund big projects like Few and Far or different things like that. And look, I mean, that they definitely, in the past, I feel that Near Foundation has picked certain horses, and in this industry, things, there's lots of rug pulls, different things like that. But I really do believe that funding people who have the drive and time to dedicate to a new ecosystem, like Joe and Jared, I think those are the people that really deserve funding. And I think that something that'll make set Near apart from other blockchains is the innovations that people can create from all of this great tech. With account abstraction, you can do so many different things. You can have a link click and onboard to minting an NFT or onboard to a new application. I mean, these things are really great. One of the cleanest mints I had was from Rogue's the Rogue's World game, their Web3 game that bridged over to Near. We had a mint with them, a surprise mint, and with I believe account abstraction or some other functions that are inherent in Near protocol, I had like the cleanest minting experience. Playing the game was awesome. I mean, there's a lot you can do with this, but we need builders who want to build on Near. In order to have builders, you need to have a user base. It's kind of like, a lot of conversations about the Near ecosystem in its current state kind of go to the chicken and the egg. But I think that it's important to fund these grassroots projects.
Yeah.
But to fund them based on merit. Not every small project is going to prosper. That's just the way it is. I mean, most startups fail. But if someone's willing to put all of their time into creating something, and they're actively reaching out for help and tweeting about it, shows that they care, or else they would have just left to another ecosystem by now, like a lot of people have done already. So I really do think that is important. I think that a lot of the people that we talked about who are, Seuss mentioned a lot of OGs aren't quite running right now for various reasons. I think that they're concerned that, they're concerned with the fact that maybe the governance might not, that it's going to get off to a rocky start or something like that. Their concerns might not be addressed, but I do think it is really important to get involved. Even if there is a rocky times in the beginning, at least being involved as a part of the NDC, you have a better chance at changing. And I'm really excited to do that, and I'm excited to see how the V1 goes. I'm excited to see I am human verification, the voting. I mean, everything looks pretty cool and smooth right now, especially the platform for nominating yourself and seeing all the other candidates. They did a really good job with that. It's on the Boss Near Social right now, so that's great. But I think I got sidetracked.
No, you're good. That was great stuff. So a couple questions. What are some problems you are trying to solve, Brandon? And what are some of your goals? If you haven't thought about it, you can think about it out loud. You'll be trying to achieve when you get elected, since we know that's going to happen.
We kind of covered a lot of that just now. I mean, some of the issues was that I think is that funding really needs to go to the right people, and it needs to be merit based. I think that a lot of funding. We got to make sure that projects are transparent and building what they say they're going to build. I trust the community a lot, but even with big projects that you think will never fail, like few and far, there's some kind of scandal or something happens like that, and boom, all of that money goes to waste. All of the grants that they got. I don't want bad actors to reduce the impact of the Near treasury. I want I want our funds to be impactful, and I want to put and support projects. I want to give projects the resources they need. Projects with dedicated teams and people. Crypto Kingwin says YouTube's not working. So
officially, Restream says it's going there. So
and then let's see. That's something I want to solve. I want to make sure that the proper people are being represented on the ecosystem. Again, going back to that initial grant run, was very good. A lot of projects did get funding, but a lot of projects that got funding are no longer here and didn't necessarily do much with that funding and received so much money all at once without trackable progress or milestones. I think that I wouldn't be afraid, giving projects the same amount of money, $50,000, but I think it would be wise to see it spread out over a timeline, over certain progress reports to keep distributing that funding to make sure that they're building what they say they're going to build. And, as people build more things, to be more open source material for other developers to build more, what was I trying to say? More apps and things for people to do on Near. You know, there'll be more things, more NFT projects, more communities to join. Yeah,
absolutely, guys. If you want to take a closer look at the absolutely great account abstraction fixing projects on Near, KeyPalm is that. Shard Dog and KeyPalm work closely to overcome some pretty big things. So yeah, just re-echoing what Brandon said, it's really important to him to get the right people funding for the right reasons, to think about it logically when issuing that type of funding, and acting as such as, you know, one of the Web3, or not Web3, but one of the council of advisors. So also there's a great doc on the NDC fair voting policy. We'll find a way to make that readily available to you guys. If you can't find it on your own, we'll post it from the Nico Twitter account, and you can probably get a lot of questions answered there as well. It is well worth the read. Sue's not here. Brandon, what have we missed?
I don't know. You're telling me.
No, yeah.
We missed. Is there anyone? Any questions from anyone sitting there? Not Billy. Anyone but Billy have any questions?
You see what you said earlier? It was pretty good. It was pretty good. Also, guys, if you're in here right now, stay tuned for season 2 of the Nico Morning Show. That will be coming soon. And Brandon, Near at night, what'd you say your discussion was tomorrow? Are y'all talking transparency?
Let me check out the schedule really quick. That's not tomorrow. Actually, we don't have any spaces until Thursday, which will be the NDC with the Transparency Commission.
Gotcha. Cool. Guys, Seuss is back. Seuss has something he wants to say. Seuss, what you got?
Okay, guys. I have been here for quite a while, but I was not full up. I think you guys look great. You know, the two cameras just facing there. Mine is just black. So yeah, I think we covered everything so far about what we want to cover about the NDC election. And for people who will be watching this after the live, we will be cutting it to short form videos. And if anyone is watching this, I really advise you to look a little bit deeper and try to participate and contribute to the ecosystem. You know, your voice is gonna matter, and your vote is gonna matter to get the right people in there to actually make the ecosystem grow even more and more. So thank you again, Brando, for coming here and talking with us about the NDC election. I was really very excited for this special episode, guys. Unfortunately, something I can't, it's not in my hand. I couldn't have my setup, you know, my notes and everything. I was preparing for it the whole time. So I'm really sorry about this, but definitely it is the first, but it's not going to be the last with Brando. There's still times, around 16 days, as we said, to the election, and we can try to get, you know, a bit more deep dive on that later on.
Awesome. Well, yeah, thank you guys for having me. It was great.
Of course.
Hopefully I answered most of your questions, but
yeah, absolutely, guys. If you're watching this, make sure to go play around with the different people that are up for that are running right now on Near. Go check that out. Go give candidates that you like. Go give them likes. Go read people's bios, their backstories. Dive into what they've done. And start poking around for yourself. So when it comes to election day, you will be ready. If you haven't already verified, definitely do that. NDC Twitter was up here for most of the time. We also had the Verify as Human. I'm going to flash this up there for 10 more seconds, and then we'll start winding down. So once again, thank you to everybody that got on. Brandon, thanks for giving us your Monday night. We super appreciate it. Seuss, thanks for making all efforts to jump on, setting everything up, and jumped on even with not great service. It's been fun having you all. Make sure y'all stay tuned in, and don't. Now is not a great time to leave the Near community. Stay tuned in, and get ready for elections. They're going to be big.
One more thing about the giveaway, guys. We always do the activities. I think a lot of you here actually do follow up with us. But yeah, since I am sitting in my phone, I can't do anything about it. But for people who were active, for people who are supporting, I will be sending the giveaways later on, and
Right.
try. We will also have some giveaways for the short form content we will be doing. Give me a second, guys.
All right. Thank you all. I will see you all
Yes.
later.
Thanks, Brandon. It's fun having you, man. We'll see you.
Peace.
Yeah, see you, Brian. Yeah, so we will be doing giveaway for the short form videos we will be doing. Philippines have a hurricane now, so our connection is really not stable, guys. I'm sitting outside; it's dripping on me the rain, to be honest. But I'm sorry. My internet rugged really hard, so I will get into the rewards and the giveaway more in the info, more in the Discord. Nino, thank you again for covering me up. Yeah, and thank you everyone for watching.
Absolutely. Thanks, y'all. Make sure to stop by the Discord and check the giveaways and pick up your prizes if you won one. So we will see y'all soon. Thank you for giving us your Monday night. And yeah, we'll see you early in the morning here sooner than you know.